I've been messaged multiple times about this Tennessee situation with the 2 kids that were killed by the dogs. The mom got injured. Horrible situation. The problem is when I really started digging into it, there's not really any details that are out there yet on the situation. I don't like giving my opinion on things that we don't know anything about. And this is a prime situation of that. There are people that like to jump on stories like this where there's not a lot of information out there and then just put their own story on it. People are using this as ammunition to be like, fuck pit bulls, or bringing up the conversation of like, hey, they should be banned again. They're dangerous dogs. There's people out there that are using this as like defending against that, like, hey, like this is not a pit bull issue. This is all in how they're raised, and they're almost like putting blame on the owner. No matter what way you approach this conversation, you're kind of shitting on somebody without knowing the details. I've really wanted to shy away from it, but I do think it's important that I give a couple of glimpses into just like first thoughts in my head. I think as a whole, our society has started to develop extremely unhealthy relationships with dogs. Dogs have replaced children for a vast majority of people. And because they've basically replaced children for them, we are treating them like human children. We're putting dogs before children or just people in general. I see so much of this, well, if you don't like my dog's behavior, you can leave or don't come over, like that type of mentality. We've accepted, because we love our dog, that if they're poorly behaved and being a nuisance to people, that's not a problem. Another thing, we don't understand that competition in houses exists, especially with power breeds and especially without proper leadership. If they don't see that somebody is in charge of situations all the time, the second you give dogs the 100% ability to make decisions on their own, sometimes they're going to make decisions that you don't want them to make. And in a lot of cases, dogs learn how to make these decisions with their mouth. We're like oblivious to the fact that dogs at their nature are predators. They hunt, they kill, they eat. We have a hard time admitting that power breeds always will have an increased potential of liability. I think that we've separated pit bulls from power breeds. German Shepherd, Rottweiler, Doberman, like any of those types of ones, they could just be more dangerous just in general when push comes to shove with things. I think we've become such an advocate for them that we're forgetting that they have the genetics to fight and to bite in the first place. All these things kind of factor together and can create the worst case scenario for people in any household. This is not a breed specific thing. I look at this as more of like a power breed issue mixed with all of those other things. So I think the first step of making sure stuff like this doesn't happen is making sure that we could admit all of these things. We could understand that there's an increased liability and an increased responsibility associated with us owning certain breeds of dog, while also understanding that that does not make them bad